Magical Girl Spec-Ops Asuka follows the main character Asuka, who is the leader of a magical girl team that saved the world 5 years ago when a world of spirits and a world of monsters collided into Earth, and humanity made a sort of deal with the spirits to help fend off the monsters. 5 years have passed, and now she is just trying to live the life of a normal high school girl. But with a brewing war and the return of the groups of monsters, she gets pulled back into the fight as a member of an anti-magic special operations team. Spec-Ops Asuka is a surprisingly good show, and by that I mean I am surprised it's good at all. I've said before that Madoka Magica kind of ruined Magical Girls because following its release came a whole slew of Magical Girl anime that were just completely all about being dark and edgy in an attempt to capitalize off of Madoka's success while ignoring that edge wasn't the only thing that made Madoka work. Magical Girl Spec-Ops Asuka manages to avoid that problem by leaning more into the Spec-Ops portion of its name than the Magical Girl portion of its name. In that regard, Spec-Ops Asuka is closer to Nanaha than it is Madoka. At its heart, it is a military drama that just uses magical girls as a flavoring. In the concept of being edgy, although this series does have some darkness and some gory scenes that would be out of place in older magical girl shows, as far as military dramas go, Asuka could be seen as on the tame side. The show has a heavy focus on Asuka as the main character and what's sort of like motivating her to stay out of the fight and her PTSD, but also her desire to protect her newfound friends and the peace she gets for being a semi-regular girl. And that draws her in, and it heavily gets into her character, but it also addresses the other characters. In fact, every character in this has its own unique, distinct personality and their own motivations to go with it. Now, let's not get it twisted. Every character being distinct and having its own motivations is kind of just the barrier for entry to be a good show. And Spec-Ops Asuka has its issues. It seems weirdly paced at times and doesn't seem to fully explain what's happening or its premises, and when it does, it can be a little clunky, and the dialogue can be a little awkward. I've read bits and pieces of the manga, and from what I can guess, a lot of it is an adaptation issue, but that still doesn't change the fact that it's a flaw in the show itself. What I do really appreciate about it, though, is when we see the main characters having fun with their friends, it helps sort of give us, as an audience, an understanding of why she's fighting and her feelings, and exploring that, and also having just some nice downtime between the scenes themselves. But also with the acknowledgement that as a primary military genre, but secondary dark magical girl series following Madoka, that both genres that this show exists in have heavy body counts where they just stack corpses on corpses on corpses. And the world is managed to be established enough that any of the villains could basically be replaced if required. And the show goes international with its villains. Like, some of them are from Colombia, some of the characters are from Russia, some are from the US. You name a country, there's a chance they have a character from it. They had like an African child soldier at one point. So if at any point one of the villains dies, replacing them would not be hard. Whereas you can pretty safely assume that Asuka herself is going to survive because her name is in the title, and I only know one series offhandedly that balls to kill its main character. But any of the other side characters, if you kill one of Asuka's friends or companions, then you could have an entire character arc for her where maybe her motivation starts disintegrating. Maybe she wants to get out of the fight and gives into her PTSD, or maybe it solidifies her resolve. Maybe she goes on a revenge kick. There's so many angles you could go if one of the main cast members dies. But if one of the cast members survives, then there's still more scenes and more relationship building and more character drama that could occur with the existence of this character. So the show exists on a knife's edge, where at any moment it feels like someone could die. And because of that, all of the fights feel tense and they're all exciting. So what you have is the slice of life elements being integrated into this exciting military action show where it feels like at any moment someone could die. And it's all wrapped in a pretty pink magical girl bow. Twitch and Discord in the description. I've been Sacrobolic, your Envoy of Hope. Bye-bye.